The meeting in Vienna failed to narrow differences between key players on how to solve the Syria crisis. The United Nations envoy Staffan de Mistura was hoping to convince rival parties to resume political talks, but that may not happen anytime soon.
On the humanitarian, on the cessation hostility side, you heard it. The main real difference is that what we used to have at 80% has gone down to 50%. But we need to bring it back, and it's been a strong effort in a common line on that.
But the International Syria Support Group says despite the challenges, progress has been made. The ISSG has agreed to take concrete steps to ensure the shaky ceasefire holds across the country. The gathering of 17 world and regional powers also vowed to deliver aid to thousands of people besieged by government troops on the outskirts of the capital, Damascus, warning that if the government continues to block humanitarian access, the UN would start food drops.
And starting on June 1st, if the UN is denied humanitarian access to any of these designated areas, the ISSG calls on the World Food Programme to immediately carry out a program for air bridges and airdrops for all of those areas in need.
These are the two key players in the international push to end Syria's conflict. Russia and the US remain at loggerheads over the future of President Bashar al-Assad. The Americans want him to go. The Russians insist the Syrians themselves are the ones who should decide his future. The UN has set an initial deadline of August the 1st for the opposition and the government to form a transitional body, a deadline unlikely to be met amid ongoing divisions.
But
we don't support Assad. We support the fight against terrorism. Today, we don't see on the ground a more efficient force than the Syrian government army, taking into account all its shortcomings.
The US and Russia will set up a command center to monitor violations of the ceasefire. But as the fighting flares up in Aleppo, many are worried the truce may collapse, leading to more violence and instability. While world powers have reiterated their commitment to solve Syria's crisis, it's ultimately developments on the ground that are going to shape the country's future. But for the time being, neither the government nor the opposition seem willing to set their differences aside and form an inclusive government. Ahelbarra, Al Jazeera, Vienna.